Welcome to the start of a new anime review series known as The Legendary Hero is Dead. Yep, we're here discussing the first two episodes of the series. Your characters for this one. Well, there's a handful of them in just the first two episodes. Well, our lead of the series is Toka Scott, voiced by Rico Fajaro in the 32th series I've actually seen him in. 32, that's a lot. We had the legendary hero who gets killed off in the opening episode. We'll get to that. He is voiced by Justin Brenner in the 14th series I've seen him in. Ari Hemsworth, voiced by Michelle Rojos. 14th series for her too. And there's also Yuna Ensigns, the childhood friend of the main character of the series. For her, I think it's the... Let's see if I can find her here. This is the 24th series. Yep, 24th. Some people like, for her, last series I saw for her was Plunderer. Yes, Plunderer. Excuse me, for Michelle Rogers, it was Dr. Stone. For Rico, the last series for him I saw was also Plunderer as well. For Justin Brenner, it was Seraph of the End. Yep, that was the last known series I've actually come across in a minute. And you're thinking, really? That was the last new one? Yes. So, now Toka is a pervert. We start with him basically putting... He pulls up radishes and puts stockings on them. Oh, by the way, this is from manga. He did the same thing in manga too. He has a fetish for putting socks on the you might describe him as a thigh guy. He's obsessed with thighs. Yes, he's a shiny thigh. Put a wool sock on it. He will unexpectedly put these socks on these beautiful ladies. A lot of time for aside from the fact he has the reason, because he has a fetish for it. That's why. So we see Yuna, his childhood friend, basically friend about the whole stalking thing, and also the fact it's revealed he made a pitfall for demons. The hybrid was also for pigs too, for some reason. So, and of course he knows the fact she already knows the fact he's a pervert, the fact that he wants her, and then the legendary Shion shows up. Yep, he just randomly shows up after a demon shows up. Of course, he tries to trap demon with his pitfall. But apparently this demon is like pork. He likes human flesh. And the hero just slices it up. It's like, oh. And then he smells the pork. And then he falls in the pitfall, dying. Yes, the legend hero is already dead. Is that the start of the series? No! Toka is. Then we see Arya, by the way, she's a necromancer, revealed this, and there's a little backstory for her revealed in episode 2. So, then of course they all blame him. Oh, you killed Legend Hero. He's like, no, it was a complete accident that he died. It wasn't an accident. I didn't do this on purpose. I had no motives to kill the guy. Despite the fact that he was jealous of the fact that he was trying to swoop in on Yuna, a girl he's basically probably had a crush on for a long time, but basically not too serious feeling because he's a pervert. So then, of course, after they bury the body, it's like, oh, let's just basically blame on something else. Let's just not basically make a hoot. Like, if really what happened here, it'll cause humongous controversy, especially with demons. So let's just say that he died under mysterious circumstances. Let's say a devil killed him, or something like that. Then they proceed to bury him in their cemetery, and then Toka goes to sleep. Like, okay. And then he wakes the next day in Shion's body. How was this accomplished? Arya transferred his soul from his own body into a corpse. And of course, Yuna basically, I think it's legendary hero to do it here, like keep him alive. He's like, no, I'm not a legendary hero. And he tells her a secret that only he knows. Of course, she beats him up for it. Of course, also I falls out too. Is that okay? I believe you're Toka, but why are you why are you in the body? He's like, I have no idea. And Arya shows up, explaining that she's the one that did it. Of course, if you're curious, what the heck happened to his real body? She has it in a small amulet. What you see in the image is basically like this gigantic casket they pull around. No, it's basically on a necklace. Or a neck. Okay, so he also has got like, cause he's basically a walking corpse. He's got like purple under his eyes. So they need to basically like, become an adventurer. And of course, oh, go ahead. And of course, Yuna basically easily volunteered because she always was a mage. So then, of course, basically the three go to adventure. And of course, people think he isn't a hero. You have one guy who fights for him, and then we have this guy show up. Yes. Named Kyle Osment. He shows up basically, I think in episode 2, doesn't he? Well, basically, like, he shows up and then basically trying to challenge him. Of course, apparently he really wants this body so badly. So then, of course, he goes, Arya's got it. So they have Arya and Yuna sleeping in the same bed together. And, of course, you have Toka, who just loves, basically, like, well, doing this. So he proceeds to, like, ooh, gonna tell the aunt, oh, she looks cold. Better put some stockings on her. But he doesn't take the animal because it's protected. And then, of course, you have Yuna wake up because the protection was activated. And he's like, I know who did this. Then she goes to the room and beats up Toka, despite the fact that, well, then they go on a mission to kill, like, devils. Like, 300 devils for this money. Yep. Then, of course, like, stay by the side. And, of course, basically, like, so... yeah, and of course we'll get to why he wants the body so badly. So we'll get to that. So they go out there trying to battle demons. All the Avengers run away. Toka runs away, even though he's the hero. Then another one shows up. Yeah. Then of course like there's this mid-level demon. And of course then they find the secret. And of course like yeah, I found out about it. And of course a bunch of demons run inside like ooh like. Then, of course, they try to battle him. Of course, Toka tries when they close the door. So, Arya tries to use her necromancy to revive the dead. There's a who sprays on Toka, and his arm evaporates the bone. And then he's like, she's about to spray Yuna. He's like, about to hear, like, is it a poisoner? No. He wants to basically melt her clothing to see her naked body. Yes. So she runs away, and of course... Toka doing the sensible thing, going after her instead of, taking on demon devils. So, he gives her protection. A swimsuit. Yes, puts on a swimsuit. Yep. And then, of course, she's the one who beats the demon by, punching him. And, of course, they kill another demon. Of course, you have Kyle giving Yuna basically a magical stone, which she has to give up a little later. We'll get to that. So, and then, of course... Kyle reveals the reason why he wants the body. As of course, after his clothing is gone by the demon who basically is acid. He wants it because he's jealous that he really wanted that sword. He basically, I've got divine blood in me. I'm be the hero. Nope. Some nobody becomes the hero. And he has been jealous of him since then. All because he is so petty of the fact that this guy, who is not noble blood, was chosen over him. It's like, if I can't be the hero, basically want to, I'll take his body. Yep, and of course they're on the castle. Of course, Arya does reveal her backstory. Apparently, necromancy is of a taboo magic. Now, they explain the reason for this, but they do explain the fact that apparently she was born in hell itself. Yes. And you're thinking, really? She was born in hell? Yes, she was. So eventually they beat Kyle by dragging him outside, and of course, having Arya be put in the trap, and of course the sword, which... because he can do whatever he wants, because apparently his power is at is a level 1, and of course Yuna is level 2. He makes the sword basically like a bridge, and he lifts the sword up, and he falls in the water, presumably never seen again. And then they paid off and of course they partially past some depths, but not fully. They're like, okay, let's go to the kingdom, basically get Let's go to the capital. Get the minute for the king. Credits roll, and we see this other necromancer with these two skeletons. And apparently, the next skeleton he really wants is a skeleton of the princess, Margaret, which we're going to see in the next episode. I'm enjoying this series. I think it's really good so far. I think this series is a lot of fun, good comedy. The whole thing with the main character being obsessed with the stalking stuff is a bit over the top. It's like that first for a bit. It does do it for a couple of characters, but by the way, he does do it with Arya, where like an older puts on the sock. She tries them on, and of course he calls her legs carrot sticks. Yes, calling the woman who revived you having carrot sticks for legs. I don't know if it's a good idea or not, but who knows? Yep. So yeah, that's that particular review. Next up is a Comic Corner, and it's back to Legend of Heroes Dead. Okay, next video. Bye.